Lead in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So you're still having trouble hearing me, Sharon?
It's better now.
All right. All right, board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming, and I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to your microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes. In both citizen comment sections, would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. Cutting through some of the regular stuff, the first citizen comment section relates to any item on the agenda. The second one is any subject you'd like to discuss. Moving on, we have 2 sets of minutes to approve. Are there any changes to the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 18th, 2025?
I have none.
None? All right. Then I will make the motion to approve the November 18th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes as presented. Is there a second?
I can second it.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of November 18th, 2025. Any further discussion regarding the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have a second set of minutes, the special board meeting of November 21st, 2025. Any comments or changes to that?
I have one little teeny tiny,
Teeny tiny?
yeah, just a typo, I think. Going way down to B, where there's an AB, just at 13, I would put a $sign in front of the 13, total of. A $sign wouldn't look more appropriate.
Oh, I have one too, on my own minutes. Above that, 26,000, it actually looks like a whole lot more than that, because I put a comma instead of
Yeah,
a
that was
period.
the other thing. Okay, you call. I was gonna say, that's wrong. Whoops, I said they're just tiny typos, so.
All right, any others? Hearing none. I will make the motion to approve the November 21st, 2025 special board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting.
Was
of
that
November-
Jason or?
That was me.
Andrew? Sorry, guys.
Meeting of November 21st, 2025 with changes. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Mary, correspondence and announcements. I didn't miss it this time.
The only thing I had was that the December 18th Antrim County Materials Management Planning Committee meeting that was scheduled for December 18th has been canceled now
All right,
for a lack of expected quorum. That's
Okay.
the only correspondence I have.
all righty. Moving on to the next item. Approval of the agenda content. Sharon, you pointed out that we need to add the language to approve the Northwest Education Services for 2026 summer tax collection. I have added that
Yes,
to the revised agenda. So I think at this point, I would still consider that a change.
okay. And then your dates down below, is that you want to do
Which one?
future meetings?
Yep.
Planning on Monday should be the 19th, not the 20th. And a regular board meeting Tuesday, January 20th. And then the ZBA will be January 21st. 19, 20, 21.
What I had the wrong calendar date. I thought, yeah, the meeting was the 21st for the
So-
board.
4 should be 19, 5 should be 20.
Yes,
Gotcha.
and 6 should be 21.
Got it.
All right. Anything else? I tend to consistently mess up those dates.
That's,
Anything else? If not, I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented with changes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Citizen comment. Anyone with a comment related to the agenda?
I just have one, and it's
Is
Sheriff.
that the sheriff? All right,
Yeah.
well, Sheriff, we'll let you speak. Never know when you'll be called away.
Never know, my gosh. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. How we doing tonight?
Okay.
Commissioner Heffron wanted me to pass this on. He appreciates the board in Torch Lake Township, and he appreciates all your hard work that you guys do and with the Public Safety Center. So we appreciate you guys, myself as well.
Thank you.
Your report for November of 2025. Going to go over this real quick, then I'll give you the stats for last year as well. 911 checks, we had 4. Alarm, we had 8. K-9 deployment, we had 1. Car deer crash, we had 11. Civil non-criminal complaint, we had 1. Conservation and or DNR, we had 1. Driving complaint, 2. Follow-up investigations, we had 1. Fraud complaint, we had 1. General assist, we had 2. Hazardous condition, we had 2. Line down, we had 3. Medical assistance calls, we had 8. A lost and found property, we had 1. Property inspection, we had 1. Suspicious situation, we had 1. We had 35 traffic stops, 3 trees down, and 1 warrant attempt. We had a total calls for service of 89 for last month. Last year in November of 24, we had 52 calls for service. So it went up. Mr. Supervisor, I told you when I came in, I had something I wanted to tell you folks. I always come in and I tell you what's going on with the sheriff's office, and we talk about the drug activity that's going on. Back on November 24th, 2025 of this year, my agency, along with my detective K-9 and with the drug teams and with CIs, which is our intelligence information, confidential informants. We had an individual that went downstate, came up this way, and we made a stop on that vehicle after we had reasons to stop this vehicle. And I'm going to tell you what we found in this vehicle. In this vehicle, we found 169 grams of methamphetamines, and this is in Torch Lake Township that we stopped this vehicle. We had 169 grams of methamphetamines, 4 grams of cocaine, and 13 grams of heroin. With this information, it led to a search warrant up in Charlevoix County, where more paraphernalia was taken and more evidence of delivery of this drug activity. So,
Thank you.
that was, like I said, that was Torch Lake Township.
So I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Did you utilize the flock cameras?
That is part of it as well. Yep. That gave us locations of this individual that we've been watching. That obviously they're ones that go down to Muskegon. They come up, they go down to Muskegon, they come up. I'm not saying just one trip. It's several trips in a day. And it could be several trips in a week. So, we come up here, we tell you the stats that are going on in Torch Lake Township or Milton Township or Banks Township, but it hits home when it's actually in your township. And these are individuals that aren't from our area. They're individuals that are coming up here and trying to give this crap to our citizens. So
The flock is up and running then?
I don't know if yours is up yet or not. I don't think
ours
it
Okay.
is.
But I just
So-
figured somewhere along the line.
Okay.
We have,
They were tracking.
in
Gotcha.
Antrim County, there's one in, there are some flock cameras put up in
Gotcha.
several of the townships.
Gotcha.
And like we've talked before, these flock cameras do assist us in locating Obviously certain things that we can manually put in, but we got to have a reason to do that. We can't just throw something in there, just, hey, let's throw, one of my deputies can't throw in, an ex-girlfriend or something. It's an audited system, and it's a system that I only have certain people on there, which is my detectives, my sergeants, myself, and my undersheriff. And no deputies are on there, so, as of this point, so. But I figured you guys would like to hear that information. That stop was huge, and it got the stuff out of this community before it hit the homes.
Is it a daytime, nighttime?
This was actually,
Curiosity.
yep, I think I do have that information, because it's really ironic. We had two situations. We had one on the east side, and we had one on the west side, pretty much about the same time, and we knew these individuals were coming into our county. We just weren't sure exactly where they were going to come in at. And so we had officers on both ends waiting, and we just took care of business. So.
And it was a daytime then?
And Sharon, I may not have that information.
That's okay, I
for
was
you.
just curious.
Um,
Because I don't know how good.
Yeah, I don't have that. I know my detective actually didn't go home till probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, give or take around there. So it was a long night for him. So that gives you an idea of what that is. So this is just some of the stuff. You get out of there.
So where does it go from there? Right to you lock it up right away and?
Yep. All this stuff is secured, and bad guys go to jail and all that good stuff. So, and especially on traffic stops like this. I mean, like I said, it warranted them to get further evidence, and they went up to a house in Charlevoix and they did a search warrant up there, and they were able to get more evidence on this. So.
You guys ever release names?
We do when they get arraigned.
That's when you.
Yep.
Because I know there's been some other ones.
Yep.
It seems like I haven't seen it in the news.
Yep. Once they have been arraigned, then we can release their names and all that good stuff. And we do.
Okay.
I want people to know who they are. So, I mean, they're coming from downstate, and I was actually at a meeting a few days ago where the individual said, oh, we pretty much stopped a lot of these drugs from downstate. And I said, no, you haven't.
No.
We're intercepting them every day, it seems like. So
So just to be clear, so the individual was passing basically through Torch Lake from allegedly the Muskegon area up
just south of here is where
Okay.
we stopped them.
just south of here. Okay.
Absolutely.
Passed him through,
And
but then
they were coming through Torch Lake, and
to get to the Charlotte, presumably to get to that Charlevoix residence?
they were coming here and then hitting up there.
Gotcha.
So, yes. So, any questions? Any further questions?
Can we get that sheriff's report? Because we haven't seen it for a while, the stats. Have you seen
Absolutely.
it?
I did not print it this month. so
Oh,
that's
okay,
my bad.
okay.
You do get them, or?
I do. I just didn't print it this.
Oh,
Okay,
I'd be happy to leave this one for you.
that's okay. I'll get
Sure?
it from Mary.
Okay, all right.
So I'll go back to your comment. You said there was going to be a stop in Torch Lake Township.
That was the traffic stop there. Yes.
Oh, traffic
So yes, what
Not
we
a
had
house that
is,
they were going to stop at.
absolutely, we had information that they were coming on the west side and the east side. We just weren't sure how they were coming in.
Yeah.
They were gonna take the back roads. So we had a deputy on each side of this
Got it.
county. So.
All right.
The east side, they pulled actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to give you what happened on the east side, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
So at about the same time, they confiscated after the traffic stop 54 grams of methamphetamines out of that vehicle. That was the only thing on drugs that we pulled out. We also pulled out a 9mm handgun. So that's
Were they connected, Kevin? Are they working together?
We haven't figured that one out yet, if they have been. If they are, then they're pretty darn good at keeping that a secret. So a lot of times they are. So what they used to do is they would bring minors up here, and they would get them downstate, and they would get them up here because they know juveniles, what happens with juveniles? Juveniles are gonna, they're not gonna take a ride like an adult. So, but we haven't seen that in quite some time, which is good, because why do you want to use a child? So, but for your addiction. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Great, Sheriff, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Keep it up.
Also, I don't know if you guys saw my PSA, but we're a public safety announcement. We're still doing the hats, gloves, and coats. So if anybody has gently used or has new coats, hats, or gloves with tags and you're not going to use them, bring them to the sheriff's office. And we're giving them out to, you won't believe, the children in our community in middle school and elementary school. And we're going to take some to the Meadowbrook, some of the residents over there that don't have anything. So, but we got a ton of it right now, but we'll take more.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
So if we had a drop off here, so we brought some here, I could call you and pick it up then too.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. We did not receive, a report from the zoning office as Sarah was on vacation. Also, the report initially submitted, in your original packages was an old report. And so I put a new report on your desk so that you would have it. Anyone wish to pull any of the reports? If not, I have one. Mike, it's a surprise, but I know you never lack for words. Could you tell the board the great report on the ambulance review and our equipment?
I'll be on about. By the way, Santa came too, just to let you know.
Oh, Santa.
Yes, thank
can't
you.
open it to go. There's enough to share with your wife or whomever.
Tell Santa to put it something out, it's noisy.
Oh, not noisy. So, yes, we had our inspection with no deficiencies. This is 5 years in a row now. It lasted maybe an hour. They basically went over, we put in we sent a lot of documents to them, to the state, and they reviewed them. Then they called us, and we walked through them. And he was very, very pleased. Tom was very pleased. He said, I wish I could get more departments to do that. Well, with Ted's computer whizzing and mine knowing what to put together, it went like clockwork. We were done. So in your packet, and I apologize, Bob, I did send you the wrong month because my mouse clicked down the next column.
That's all right.
But that being said, you have the license in there. It is good. Our new rig should be coming shortly, and they're going to do an inspection on that. And then, as I talked with Bob last week, I got word from Boyne City that they might be interested in our EMS unit, our used one, our older one. And so I should be hearing something by Thursday of this week. I checked with her again today. So if we can get 50,000 for that used one versus the 10 that was offered in our original deal with Emergency Services Plus, that'd be terrific. If not, we'll continue with what we're doing. So we're hoping to hear from that. We were going to do a demonstration tonight, but I don't know what happened with Ted. I'm not sure what's going on. And they had a call. Lisa, who's kind of been our paramedic for a while, most of you know her. We got that new Life Pack 35, and I wanted to have a show and tell tonight, but we can do that another time. So
Great.
good news, we're good for another year.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
So I skipped over, so we'll just say, do I have a motion to accept all of the reports of the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
You want to second it?
I'll second. Get it out.
All right, the motion has been moved and seconded to accept all reports of the consent agenda. Is there a discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, board. All right, Andy, Planning Commission update?
The planning commission meeting was canceled yesterday, so there's no update
All right.
since before.
Thank you. Mary, any new FOIA requests or announcements?
None.
All right. The financial overview, we've begun receiving our tax funding, and Sharon is working a lot of time to keep up with the submissions. The general fund was 36,000 favorable to budget as revenues were higher by 39,000 and expenses were higher by 3,000. Expenses reflected 11 cost centers that were under budget for 58,000 and 8 cost centers which were over budget by 61. The details can be found online in the special report financial section line item details file. The fire fund is still negative due to the unbudgeted down payment for the new fire pumper and some capital improvement work that we have discussed in the past at the 2 fire stations. The ambulance fund was unfavorable due to my budgeting error. We had things in there prior to the December tax collections of 82,000, and we also had lower run fees of 28,000. Expenses were essentially flat to the budget, which I find is good news for us. That tends with overtime to run over budget, and it's overall unfavorable by 74,000. The road fund work, as I explained last month, is completed, but we did receive one final bill that was unexpected, at least to me. And so our favorable balance was reduced by 25,000, so that we're favorable for the year by 46,000 for the year. I'll be working with the road commission to come up with next year's estimate that we'll discuss at our budget meetings in January. If anybody has any questions, feel free to call me or the clerk's office. Moving to the next item, we have no old business, and we have 3 items for new business. And Sharon, I will let you lead the discussion on the first item.
Okay, thank you. Last month, we did the summer tax collection agreement with Central Lake Schools. So this one that you have in front of you in your packet today is the agreement with Elk Rapids. They're both the same, $250 per parcel collection. The only difference between Elk Rapids here is the Northwest Education Service piggybacks off of them. So we don't get any funds from the ISD areas, but we still have to sign a contract with them. So there's been no changes. It's been the same for the last 20 plus years.
All right. So do you want to make the motion?
I think.
Can I ask a
got it
quick
right.
question, just out of
Yeah.
curiosity? With these contracts, whether it's the one from Elk Rapids and one from Central Lake, do they provide the contracts and we react to it, or do we provide it? Is this a contract we create?
It's a contract they created, and they called me prior to make sure that the dollar amount is, now see, if I said, I don't want to collect the summer school taxes, then it would go to the county. The county would have to collect them, and if the county said no, then the schools would have to collect them themselves. They're not going to want to do that. And so if there was no school taxes on the summer levy only, and it was the original SET state education tax that it was when the summer tax was formed, then the state was paying us $250 to collect their taxes for the set. And so after that, anybody that piggybacked on to that summer tax collection when it was formed some 4 years ago, that's when that's changed, because it used to be just one tax bill a year. Then we had to negotiate with whoever jumped onto that. And so we stayed with it was higher in the very beginning when we first started. It was all new, but then it's been reduced through the years to the $250, because we would get that from the state anyway if they didn't collect it. So they're paying that. And I do see where I'm going to call them, but I did read in the newspaper where Elk Rapids schools, I shouldn't even say this, but they negotiated with Elk Rapids Township, and theirs was $3. So I'm going to make a phone call after reading that in the newspaper. But we've already done Central Lake, so I can't alternate, one or the other right now. So my policy is always to send receipts out, and that's an extra cost to the township. That's not, it's not a mandatory thing. So I want to see if they're sending out receipts. If they're not sending out receipts and getting $3, I'll be making a phone call. So that's a side note. So, but with this agreement here, this is what we have done in the past, so. And likewise, there are some townships that don't collect any money from the school. They do it as a service. They just do it because it's within their area. They have a school in their area. I think Banks doesn't collect because the school's right there. And so everybody varies. So that dollar number varies throughout the state. But the 250 was the original amount that the state was going to pay the townships to collect their portion of the tax bill when it became a summer bill. So that's a little tidbit history there, Andy. Does
Thank you.
that clear anything
Yeah,
up?
no, it's interesting. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Sharon, you want to do the motion? I put a clean one on your desk.
Yeah, I see that here. Motion to accept agreements as presented for collections of 2026 summer school property taxes for Elk Rapids School District and the Northwest Educational Services at $250 per parcel.
I'll second that. Any questions on the motion? It's been moved and seconded to accept agreements as presented for collection of the 2026 summer school property taxes for Elk Rapids School District and Northwest Educational Services at $2.50 per parcel. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mary, a roll call vote, please.
Bob,
Yes.
Mary, yes. Sharon,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
So motion passes 5-0. Second item, we got our annual contract from our attorney. The fees went up, of course. However, Todd's been our attorney, Sharon, I'm not sure how long, but it's got to be 10 and 15 years, isn't it?
At least.
Yeah, and his background with the township and the services we get, I think the cost is reasonable. Sharon will be checking on another legal firm, however, to see what their billing rates look like. But for the time being, I would like to make the motion to approve Parker Harvey Legal Services as presented in their proposed contract. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Discussion on the motion.
How much is it? How much did it go up? What was last
From
year?
225 to 250,
So
about 11%.
25 an hour?
No, 220.
I know, but it went up another
Yeah,
25
per hour.
That's right. I'd like the $25.
I didn't have a question, it was more of a comment, but my dealings with Todd more on the items as it related to planning commissions, I thought were very favorable. And boy, I wish our corporate attorney rates could be that low.
Yeah, well, I'm sure your issue's a lot more complex than the township.
Not so much just in the environment, but he did a really good job. I can't remember the specific issue, but there was another attorney involved at the kind of opposing side, and he really did well.
Yeah. He also did a great job. Wasn't he involved? He did training for the ZBA, if I remember, and he did a really nice job for that group. All right, if there's no other comment, then.
Yeah, he was actually hired originally from our insurance attorney when we were fighting the case. He was representing the insurance company. And after that, we did well on that. And that's how we kept him. So
Good.
that's the history of how we obtained him.
All right, Mary, a roll call vote, please.
Mary, yes. Sharon,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Who made the motion?
I did.
And
me, second.
thank you.
Last item, Sharon, you did all the work on this. I'll let you present it.
All right. we need to pass the board meeting schedule for 2026. And the only thing I would like to bring up to the board is that on Tuesday, the April meeting, that particular week falls in MTA conference, which there'll be several of our board members absent from the board. So there's a possibility we may not even have a quorum if somebody else is missing too. So I would like to change that date either before or after. Or
Jason,
whatever your thoughts are.
I think you're, the third person, the unnamed third person is, I think, sitting to my right, but I won't insinuate anything.
Hey, I'm wide open. I'm okay.
So we can either do it on the 14th or the 28th. My suggestion would be just get it done on the 14th. Unless anyone has,
So one on the 12th and one on the 14th? Wait a minute, I can't do Wednesdays.
no, not
No,
a
this is
Wednesday,
It's 14th is a Tuesday.
So it's a week prior, correct?
week prior.
That's wrong.
I am. Looking at the wrong
I think you were clear.
I think 14 is good.
Yeah.
It's
Get it
almost,
done.
I mean, if,
You don't have to come back and then try to work and get it all. That would be my suggestion, but that's up to the board to agree on.
I'm fine with it.
I'm good with the 14th.
Okay?
So
We'll
I'll
make that
change-
Modification.
I'll make that modification to the 14th.
14th of what month?
April.
April.
Oh, geez, okay. Damn,
15.
that's a lot of pressure.
I've
And-
got it in the calendar, dear.
And then we've, the Tuesday, the March 10th, in the past several years, we've done a separate annual meeting. So that's right, it's in red, just because it's another meeting, so.
Yep.
But that's something we've done the last many years here. And if that date's okay,
Yeah, that's the biggie. So.
I'm sorry, Sharon, which one were we?
the
The
one
March-
in the red, the March 10th.
Oh, for the,
Because there's two in
Budget
March.
meeting.
There's the special annual meeting one, and then there's the board meeting one of the 17th, St. Patty's Day.
Yep, same as last year.
What's that?
Same as last year. We didn't double up
Right,
with a
right.
board meeting.
Last 2 or 3 years.
I'll be gone the 17th.
There's way too many.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm out of town the 15th through the 20th.
Yeah, Mary's gone the 17th, so we'll need somebody to take the minutes then.
Any volunteers?
We'll just have it recorded and they can do the minutes from the recording. That's. what
They,
we-
me? I can do the minutes from.
Yep, that way you'll know what took place at the meeting.
Sharon, would you mind taking notes for me at that
Give you
meeting?
something to do while you're in the hotel room.
You're going to get in trouble yet tonight. All right.
And actually, May, I'm going to be missing that board meeting, so,
Okay,
but
Goodness
we're not
gracious.
changing the date.
all right, any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion on this?
So the motion is to just change Tuesday, April 14th. Okay,
So a motion to approve the township board meeting schedule with changes.
Is that your motion?
Yes,
I'll second it.
all right. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the township board meetings schedule with changes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mary, roll call vote, please.
Sharon,
yes,
Jason,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes,
Mary, yes.
I'll type it up a new one here then.
okay. All right, board.
And then we piggyback off of that, in your packet is also, we've never really made motions this is for the township building here, holidays, has nothing to do with ambulance department or fire department or anything else. It's strictly for this building here. So do we need a motion on this?
No. it's
No,
just
this is just for
information.
reference. And this is most of these days, not all of them, are piggyback off of what the county does, which we've done in the past. So county has a couple extra ones in there, but that's okay.
I don't think we've ever voted on it, but.
No, we never
we've
have.
never handed it out.
But I
so
just want to
people
make,
understand.
make sure that the board sees it.
If you could send that to Linda Woodward and put it out on the constant contact, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, moving on. We have a number of decisions for dates that we need to put together in your board package. This would be under board discussion number 1 with a calendar.
What about number 3?
Number 3 was the approval of the board meeting minutes. Did I miss something?
Salary, what, wages? Is that what you?
No,
We haven't got there yet.
that's down in board discussion.
Oh, okay.
We,
Gotcha. I have marks all over my stuff
because
here.
if we had put it on, we have been voting on it, and normally we have one shot
Okay.
at working it, and then we put it on the next meeting's agenda.
Well, I've got some no's written down my sheet here, so no on the 12th. 13th is okay for me.
All right, so
I am-
Sharon's a no on January 12th.
I've got a lot of Monday meetings in January, actually 3 in a row.
Andy, you've got busy schedules.
Yeah, so Monday, the 12th would be a no for me.
All right.
Is the 13th okay?
No, it won't be, unfortunately.
Okay.
All right, so Mary and Jason, you guys okay? So let's move that meeting to the 13th. For the fire and ambulance, Kevin, Mike? And again, this is just to review it, so if you have comments, Andy, you can send them in.
Okay, that's perfect.
The next one is for the general fund, Torch Bay Nature Preserve, the liquor enforcement. It really captures the balance of the items, and I was going to put that before the board meeting, starting at 5. How does that work for everybody?
It works.
I
For
will
me.
have the worksheets out to you in plenty of time in January for you to review and be prepared to discuss. Then what I had, taking that work, we would have the final approval on the budget that then would be presented at the March meeting on January the 26th.
January 26th is a no for me.
All right. Anybody else? Andy, that's probably tough for you too, isn't it?
I could make that date.
Okay.
What about the 27th?
At this point, I think I could make that. I could make that.
All right, so we'll move the final approval of the budget for the presentation at the budget meeting in March to the 27th of January. How does 7 p.m. sound? I can do 7 p.m. or we can do 5 p.m.
7 p.m. is fine.
7's good. In case I have
Okay.
to travel back, I've got more time to get here.
Assuming the weather is good. All right, so I'll make those changes.
What about the other, what's the time on the other one? Oh, 5 o'clock is the one for the board meeting earlier, but what about the 13th? What time is that?
Normally, we've done them at 7.
Okay,
Guys, can we do them? We did it at 5. Can everybody do that? Because it'd be easier for Mike, because Mike's got
Mhm.
a long drive. If we start at 7, start at 5.
Whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I know, you're good
Well,
about
Andy
that.
won't be here, so
Doesn't matter to me. If you're talking the 13th, I won't be here anyway.
All right.
5 o'clock's fine with me.
Mary?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. If Mary's good, I know it's good for you then.
All these 5 o'clock meetings, she's bringing dinner.
Yeah.
Eat before you come.
That's a diet week.
And Bob, on the 27th, if it's easier for others to do 5, the likelihood of me trying to get back here, it's probably not going to matter. If I'm stuck somewhere, I'm stuck.
All right. Everybody agree with 5 PM?
Sure.
Mhm.
All right.
Bring some pizza for Jason.
I mean, if you want, I'll buy you a pizza. I'll cook it in the microwave.
Yeah.
All right. So that takes care of that item. We covered number 2. And so the third item is the salaries, wages. Really, the purpose of this, I've given you 3 sheets. The first sheet is what we currently have on the books. The second sheet is a straight out calculation of 3.5%. And the third sheet, I just rounded a bunch of the numbers. So anything I rounded is in red. So the real question is 3.5% is that reasonable, acceptable? What's the county going to do this year?
Did you read your email today from Jairus?
Yeah, but I thought I'd let you,
Okay, let me read that. I did listen to the Commissioners, Board of Commissioners meeting, and typically we kind of follow suit with what they do. So I did listen to their board meeting, and Jairus sent a note this morning too, but the Board of Commissioners signed and agreed 5-0 a vote for all their employees at the county for a 4% for the next consecutive 3 years, for this year, for next year, and for the year after. 3 consecutive years, they voted for a 4% raise. So with Jairus's email this morning to Bob and I, he said, I will not be at your board meeting this evening. My daughter's having her Christmas concert. As always, if there are any questions concerning, please reach out as you have in the past. The next county board meeting has the reappointment of Mike Bertram to the county 911 board. We are also looking to approve a new software for the prosecuting attorney's office and to help solve with more cases and so forth. I wish everyone in Torch Lake Township a Merry Christmas, and as we celebrate the birth of Jesus. I wrote back and I said, thank you. I did watch and watch your Board of Commissioners meeting. The one topic that was voted on and approved 5-0 was a 4% county employee wage increase consecutively for the next 3 years. That happens to be on our board discussion tonight, E3, under wages. Thank you for your presence at our board meetings tonight. You most certainly need to watch those little children at their concert. What a joy. Merry Christmas to your family. So that's what I wrote back to him. So I'm just throwing that out. Because in the past, we kind of consecutively followed suit, but it's up to the board to do whatever they need to do.
So they voted for a 4% increase to happen each of the next 3 years. So
4%, yeah, 4%, 26, 4%, 27, 4%, 28.
And was there any discussion on the logic of just deciding on it?
It was,
Early
I'm
3
sure I'm sure they meet with whomever, their department heads and so forth. At the meeting, it was very quick. They voted on it. It was briefly discussed. It was brought forward from the county administrator. And that was what they just, and it was very brief. They said yes, and it was a unanimous vote of 4%. It wasn't discussed at the meeting. I'm sure they had it all discussed prior. And I think if anyone wanted to contact the planner, county planner, for that decision,
Thoughts? You guys are quiet.
What did we agree upon last year? What was the
I think
percentage?
it was 3.5.
Was 3.5?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was 3.5 last year. I won't swear to it, but
the county commissioners meeting was just a day or so ago, so I really didn't call anybody to check and see what kind of proposal they did. But I was, when they said 3 consecutive years, you know, and at that percentage, I was, wow.
well, remember, board, we can do a blanket. And at the same time, you can look at individual roles and adjust them higher if we think that those particular roles deserve a higher wage. So again, the idea here is to get this started. And then, because we have to, I'm trying to remember, Sharon, we have to pass this prior to
The annual
budget.
meeting, yes.
The annual meeting, but before the budget.
Right. It's got to be 30 days prior to the annual meeting that you have to have the resolutions done.
Yeah. So we have time, we could set up a second meeting if you want to think about this.
Let's see. Our annual meeting is
Yeah, that's March.
April what?
No,
So-
March.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry,
March.
Bob. So we have
March
time,
10.
we have
So-
time to come back and
Right.
discuss this and vote on it,
Yep.
right? Okay, so we're just discussing today.
So we can,
So we have to make a decision in our January board meeting because we won't have enough time in our February board meeting. So it's got to be, resolution's got to be in by January's board meeting of the 20th.
why is that?
Because it's not 30 days from February, and for our next board meeting in February will be less than 30 days before our annual meeting.
Because we're having the annual meeting
Early.
early.
And we've always done the resolutions in January, just to be sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me pull the calendar back out. We could always do a special meeting in early February if we wanted to. I mean,
Well, we've gotten to, oh. So you're saying you want a discussion before we do this, before the January 20th?
I brought this forward just to give people a starting point.
And you're saying you want more discussion, then is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
and I was just going to ask some general questions. I mean, it was interesting, the data you provided, Sharon, on the county and the 4%. And it was really just a question of, you know, with current levels of inflation and that, is this the right level? If it were 3.5% last year, I'm not saying it's right or wrong
Right.
this year, just trying to get a sense for that. Do we
Well, I was
bump it up
just-
a hair or?
In the past, we just kind of followed the county, so
Yeah.
I was just bringing forward the information as to
Yeah.
what I learned. And it's actually printed in the newspaper too, so the Antrim Review also has it printed in there in the front page. Their 4% increases were in the newspaper also. I listened to the commissioners meeting and I reached out to Jairus and it was published in the newspaper also. So I was just bringing that forward as to what they're doing, because Bob asked what others are doing, so I brought it
And
forward.
my biggest concern, or I guess question, is making sure that we're adequately taking care of all of the service workers and providers that we have to meet demand with of more of an inflationary environment that we've had in a while. So that's really the question.
Yeah, and if you look at our wages compared to some other townships, we're sort of in the middle. We're certainly not the high ones by any means. We're certainly not the low ones by any means.
Right.
So, and depends on how much providing services we have here. We're open a lot here, where a lot of townships aren't. So to me, and we're a much busier township, having a full staff of EMS and that department back there, it requires a lot of extra time and work, where a lot of them, most of them, none of them do at all in Antrim. You know, they got allied, they got services, you know, so there's a lot of extra work that we provide here, and we're certainly not the high pay end either. So I tentatively look at what we do and provide for our community if you're making comparisons by other townships. So that's where I go. Everybody else can do their research and go forward with that. So
You can't make the meeting January 13th, right?
So I think that's the one I said I could not, yes.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jason. for
but
checking.
you're good on the 20th.
I can on the 20th.
All right, what if we put our discussion at 4 PM on January 20th? We'll do the appropriate notifications in Constant Contact and on the website. We'll start that at 4. We'll make our decisions at that meeting. And then I'll prepare the motions, resolutions for we have to do resolutions for the elected officials, I think. So we can make the resolutions and we'll just fill in the numbers and then do the voting at the board meeting on the 20th. Does that make sense to everybody? Jason? Mary? You're okay, Mary? Sure? All right, so put in your calendars 4 PM on January 20th. And Kevin and Mike, you're welcome to come and give us input related to what you see in the marketplace. And if we have some unusual pressures that you think may be coming, it would be helpful if you advise us of that. I don't like being caught by surprise that somebody's out there.
A little bit of that already. There isn't any real large surprises. I just want to comment that we did get 3.5% match to EMS supplies here. So
Yep.
they're very, very good. But then a couple of years back, we brought everybody up because of the competitive wages in the community.
There was-
way up there.
there was 2 raises in that year.
Right, because of
Yep.
They went up, and then they went up again.
Yes.
My objective has always been, we're going to have the best in the business, and we want the best people, and we're going to have to pay for it. And I don't see the community coming in and saying they don't want the best, so
We've got the best equipment,
we got,
darn good equipment, and we need
Yeah,
to make sure we can take, yep.
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Well, it's a service that's losing the population of providers. If I remember correctly, the schools aren't graduating as many people, and we've got to be competitive up here. So you guys, you and Kevin come prepared on the 20th. All right.
I would suggest the board, each of you too, to do your own research and see what others are doing and what they provide and so forth before the 20th.
Do-
You got my strong too.
I was gonna s-
With all the EMS in Northern Michigan, so I need a pretty good idea of where everybody's at.
All
It
right.
would also be interesting to see what has been the percentage increase on average for this township. Just looking
I
at
can
it.
remember many years back when I started, we didn't get any raises for
Yeah,
years.
so I was going to say, you just track that and you just look at kind of general inflation and look at that. It might be surprising.
Absolutely correct. It happened in the last 3 years. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. When all of a sudden, EMS wages just skyrocketed. So as a township board, you chose to remain competitive, so their raises were just accordingly for that. So that will favor our graph, in that regards. But yes, there's nothing for a long time.
Well, a lot of it, the structure was a lot different then too. I mean, there was on-call type of the things versus the people staying back there. So the structure of that whole, when we moved in this building, the entire structure changed of payroll and everything and how we provided service.
All right, I think
Employees.
we're all set. All right. That concludes discussion for the board. We have nothing for informational purposes only. We'll have citizen comment. I don't think we have any.
I have no.
So board comment. Jason,
Not good. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Mary. Nothing?
No comment.
All right, Sharon?
I don't have anything either except Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and be
Yep.
safe and warm.
Andy?
Tax bills are coming in pretty good. They're a little slow.
I knew there was going to be something. Andy?
Nothing other than to say that I've enjoyed working with everybody this year and appreciate the opportunity and the opportunity for the community. So thank you and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it's amazing, board. We've gone through our first year already. Time's flying.
Yeah, well, when it's,
I wish
elections
everybody-
were in November, so yeah, December. This has been 1 year.
Yeah. Well, I wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll
Yes.
second.
Uh-oh.
You got a fast roll around.
Yeah.
The Grinch. They got back from their call. We're going to do a real brief demonstration of the new monitor, LifePak 35. They're going to be rolling it up here in about a minute.
Mike.
Huh?
Just enough time to open some chocolate.
So we don't have to be in a session. I just can show it to you.
So do you want to
After we're
adjourn the
adjourned.
meeting or do you want to?
Yeah, so I'm going to, Mike, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
That's great.
And then
Bring it up so you can see
So
it
we
around.
adjourn at
all in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
8
All right.
o'clock. Just put 8 o'clock.
So can't leave.
Couple
You
minutes
are.
too. By the time we get out of here.
Nah, kill it.
We get paid extra for this?
Nope.
Do you want the public